Everybody, welcome April Ellis from Ellis Mental Health. We are so excited to start this new series of mental health with this organization. And I will pass it over to April. We're going to talk about self-care today, right?
Yes, yes. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate being here. I don't know what the echo is, so my apologies on that. Maybe we get that figured out. So welcome to Self-Care September. Uh, I was recently made aware that September nationally is self-care month. So we're very pleased. I'm pleased to be here and to have this series where we're talking about mental health and self-care. My name is April Ellis. I'm clinic director at Ellie Mental Health, which is based out of Redwood City. And I want to share some tips and give you some tools for self-care today. So I would like to start with everyone, put your hand on your chest and taking a deep breath, a couple deep breaths in and out. Oh, and if you're sitting down, just sink down into that chair that you're in. Feel your chest rise and fall. Just releasing that tension. Deep breath. Feeling your heart beat. Again. Good. Now, I want you to do what I do. Okay, we're going to start. We're going to do some tapping. And you go to the very top of your head and tap there. Bunk, bunk, bunk. Bunk, bunk, bunk. Nice firm taps right at the crown of your head. Hear it echo in your head. Bunk, 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 bunk. Very good. Deep breath, deep breath. Good. Okay. Now we're moving one hand and tapping between our eyebrows. Right here. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Very good. Deep breaths. Now both hands on your temples. And tapping away. Very good. Now both hands underneath your eyes, on your cheekbones. Tap, tap, tap. Deep breath. Very good. Very good. One hand underneath your nose. Right there. Tap, tap, tap. And deep breath. Now beneath your mouth, on your chin, right there at the left of your chin. Tap, 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 tap. Excellent. Now both hands and on your collarbones. Feel when you're tapping how it kind of echoes in your chest. Yeah. Bunk, 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 bunk. Good job. Move around a little bit, see what feels best. Excellent. Okay, last one we're doing is this one, where we're on your sides here, like a little monkey. You can also cross your arms and tap this way. Tap, tap, tap. Give yourself a nice little hug. Okay, one more time. On the top of the head. Bunk, bunk, bunk. Between the eyes. Keep those deep breaths coming. Temples. Underneath the eyes. Tap, tap, tap. Under the nose. Tap, tap, tap. On the chin. Very good. On the collarbones and on the rib cage. Tap, tap, tap. Excellent. Now I want you to close your eyes, hands in your lap. Take deep breath, eyes closed. I want you to do a little body scan. Start at the top of your head, work through your face, and just keep your attention on these areas. What are you feeling in those areas? In the head, down into the chest. Is there a sensation, a tightness, a pain, an openness, an electricity? And check your arms. Think about your arms and your hands. Then below the waist, down through your legs. Just checking in with your body there. Deep breath. One more. All right. And when you're ready, to slowly, slowly open up your eyes. All right. How was that for everybody? Anybody want to share what that felt like? What their body felt like afterwards? What their body feels like right now?
I feel a little bit more relaxed.
Hmm. Hmm. Good, good. That's what we're going for. Anybody else? Like, how do you feel? How's your body? All right, what's going on for my body when I do that is that my hands feel tingly, my arms usually feel tingly, and sometimes I get some tingles here in the middle of my body, up in my chest area. Yeah. So what we were doing is called tapping. It's part of the therapy type that's called emotion-focused therapy. You don't have to know all the letters that go with that, just that when you are feeling anxious, this is a great go-to to go to. It's very simple and easy. There are YouTube videos online. If you just put in tapping for anxiety, there's a whole bunch of wonderful, like 3 minutes tapping where they lead you through just what I led you through. With a little more instruction, right? The second part of that, you can just do the tapping and it's helpful. But there's a second part to it where you're naming how you feel. I'm anxious. I'm so anxious right now. And that has an additional benefit to it. So tapping falls into the umbrella of somatic therapy. Right? There are many types of therapy. There's talk therapy, there's psychoanalytical therapy. I'm a registered horticultural therapist. There's horticultural therapy. And this one falls under the umbrella of somatic, right? Somatic meaning of the body. Each person has um, three areas that are giving us information all day, every day, when we're conscious or unconscious. The first is the head, right? We are talking to ourselves most of the time, right? The head is giving us information. Another place we get information is the heart, the emotions, right? That are usually centered out of the chest area. But if you're feeling happy or sad or angry or frustrated or even anxious, right? Those emotions, right? All here in the chest area. And then we also have the third area, which is our intuition, our gut, right? When you say, I had a gut instinct about this, you are correct. That is genuinely an area where we get information from. The problem is that most of us spend most of our time up here in our head and trying to ignore what's going on down below the neck. Ah, unless it's a happy emotion. If it's a good emotion, a happy emotion, then yes, I will check in with here. But if it's sad or depressed or anxious or anything, I don't want to know anything about it. And the gut, many times we've been taught from a young age to disregard what our intuition tells us, right? Because of many reasons, right? So if we're only listening to what's going on in our head, which can sometimes be a little bit of an echo chamber, and we go around in the same thoughts over and over again. And part of the sadness about that is that you're only getting information from 1/3 of the places that could be giving you full information and helping you. So that's why somatic therapy exists, right? It helps us kind of quiet the mind a little bit and get into our body, right? Um, yeah, so that is somatic therapy, and that uh, things like that work really well for self-care, right? For those tapping things and such. As do deep breathing. I think meditation, some people work really well with meditation for calming and for self-care, calming the mind, checking in. Um, doesn't fit into somatic therapy, but is very helpful. Let's see. So would anyone like to share with us like what you do for self-care? Since we are in self-care September, I'd love to hear some things that work for you to take care of yourself.
I can share. I go to massage.
Oh, that is wonderful. Also good for somatic therapy, right? Getting into your body and working out all the muscle tensions and tightness and good things like that. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and self-care is very important to those of us in the healthcare industry, um, because it's a high burnout industry, right? The students that I teach, we focus a lot on self-care, as building a um, a way of uh, leaving the stress and the workplace behind, not carrying that and going into burnout, but being able to embrace life a little more and not being caught up in some of the same things. So it's not something that we cultivate in our culture currently, but that's changing. That's changing. And you are a part of that change by being here, by trying some of these things, by going to massages, by cultivating your own self-care. For some folks, and let me give you ideas. Since I work with lots of people, I've heard many things. Some folks, self-care is playing with their dogs or their cats or their pets or their kids or the grandkids, reaching out and calling a friend with call or a Zoom, going for a walk, having a hot bath, having a massage, prayer, meditation, art, right? Drawing, painting, crocheting, uh, doing things that um, uh, relax you, and that are things you do when the things aren't stressful, right? And the reason I bring that up is that scientifically they have found that our brain, one of the oldest lobes of our brain, it's been around the longest as we have come about as a species, um, is based on, fear. Yeah, it's been very helpful. It's kept us alive for many millennium. And its goal is to keep us alive, right? To be looking for scary things, things that won't work, things that could hurt us. It's constantly scanning for those things, that part of our brain. And when it thinks it sees one, it automatically reacts in our nervous system, right? So you've heard perhaps about the fight, flight, or freeze response, that is innate in us human beings, that even from infants, when we sense that there's, danger, that part of the brain sends out the adrenaline and goes into our instinctive defenses, right? So fight, right? Or flight, where you run away, or freeze. So maybe the lion won't see us. So it's built for lions and bears and things that come and attack us, right? We see the lion, we have the response to either fight it or run away. Either way, that's a physical response. We're using our body and that adrenaline that is going on. And then we either do not make it, or if we do make it, we get back to the village where we engage in the activities that are enjoyable and we don't do when there's a lion around, right? So our brain is hardwired that way, and is so it's always scanning for trouble. When it sees trouble, it responds in this way. It's expecting a physical response of some way, right? Fight or flight. And then it knows that things are okay because you're engaging in those pleasurable activities. All right. The difficulties in our modern world is that we watch the news and we see terrible things, or we have a difficult interaction, a conflictual interaction with a friend or loved one or something. Our brain doesn't know the difference between a lion and seeing the damage of an earthquake on the other side of the world, or a conflict with a friend. It just sees danger and reacts the same way, right? Releases that adrenaline. And it's expecting that adrenaline is going to be used in some physical manner, right? And one of the sad things is that some of the things we're reacting to, there's nothing to fight or to flee from, right? If you're sitting in front of the TV and you see this and that response happens, there's nothing for you to do, right? For those poor folks in the earthquake on the other side of the country, or the shooting that happens, there's no physical response, and yet you're having the adrenaline, and the brain thinks there's a threat. So one of the great things about somatic therapy is that it engages the body and utilizes some of that adrenaline, that the brain is looking for that to happen so that it can say, oh, okay, we're okay now. So let's say you're watching TV and you see something and you feel fearful, you feel angry, right? Those instinctive defenses go off, right? What you should do, according to research, is something physical, right? So that's walk. It doesn't have to be big, right? Walk around the block, do jumping jacks, stretch. Can be gentle, but it needs to be a physical thing where you are actively using the body. And that's the only thing that tells your brain, we're doing something about this. And look, now the threat is gone and we are okay. So physical exercise, and then do something pleasurable. And sometimes walking is pleasurable, right? So that's some of the science behind why we're having these responses. Sometimes we wonder, why am I so anxious? There's no lie in here. There's nothing that I can discern that's bringing this about, and that's older trauma coming up to the surface and needs to be worked on and healed, and working with it somatically is one way to do it. Talk therapy is another way to do it. Yeah. Any questions on those things? When I first learned about, this lobe of our brain that makes our instinctive defenses go off. It was a revelation for me of, oh, well, this is where this is coming from. And now I have something to do about it. Also, I have another reason why I should go out and take a walk around the block, because I can talk myself out of that any day. Really can. But it's very helpful. Not only for the exercise, right? Just 30 minutes of gentle exercise a day, right? Does wonders for your body. But in the being outside, taking a walk around the block or in a public area during the daytime has other benefits for self-care, right? Fresh air has been scientifically proven to lower our cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone that goes off when we're stressed. It's good for our lungs, it's good for our bodies, right? I was just talking to someone the other day who was citing a study that said the worst thing for wrinkles is stress, right? It's not, it's the number one thing for stress. It's not the food you eat or the creams you use or something like that. If you are carrying stress, that is the quickest way to deeper wrinkles. So another great reason, like, I'm going to be younger and I'm going to go for a walk around the block. So my background is in as a licensed clinical social worker, and I worked at CPMC in San Francisco, both at the inpatient hospital level and in the psych unit. And then for 10 years, I was director of social work at the Jewish Home Acute Psychiatric Hospital. So my background is working with adults and seniors with depression, anxiety, psychosis, and looking at support with that. 3 years ago, I was trying to figure out how to utilize the outdoors with traditional therapy, and did a quick Google search and found out that there is such a thing called horticultural therapy, which I then have since gotten trained in and am now a registered horticultural therapist, and on the board of directors of the American Horticultural Therapy Association, which if you're interested in that, please reach out. I'd love to connect you to great things going on with horticultural therapy. But let me show you a little, we'll go through another good self-care exercise that utilizes that horticultural therapy. Very happy to have my plants behind me today. Yeah, I got Safeway. I got some mums, chrysanthemums in the seasonal colors, which I just love. And then I in my yard, I've been growing sunflowers, which sunflowers are fantastic here on the peninsula. If you have a pot that can go out on a patio, or if you have a yard to plant things, sunflowers are marvelous. Not only are they very, very happy looking flowers with pretty faces, they have a lot of benefits. They benefit the soil. They, did you know, just a little side tip here, that sunflowers can absorb nuclear waste? Isn't that odd? That around Chernobyl, which is still, detoxing from the nuclear event that happened there, right, many, many years ago, and yet it's still radioactive. They have planted sunflowers because sunflowers have this incredible ability of absorbing and neutralizing the harmful radiation effects that are there in the soil and not passing it on to the seeds that they produce. Pretty amazing, huh? Another amazing thing about sunflowers is, so mine, and I'm here in San Mateo. They love San Mateo. They love San Carlos. They love Redwood City. They love everywhere. And they grow very tall. But then, the wind comes sometimes and they fall over. But that is not the end for these sunflowers, right? Sunflowers are hardy and love the sun. So they may fall down, but then their little head pops up and follows the sun wherever it happens to be. And they just keep growing towards the sun. Right? Wonderful metaphor for our life. right? Sometimes we fall down. Sometimes things don't work exactly as we were hoping, right? But there's always growth to be had. There's always, you can always turn your face towards the sun. Except now, I think it's raining outside right now, but the sun's there. So this exercise, I would like you to um, you can find anything. It can be right there near you, or you can go somewhere inside your house and find something. If it's a living thing like a plant, a flower, all the better, all the better. But it can also be, your favorite coffee cup, right? So what I'd like you to do is hold this item. We're going to call it a flower. We're going to hold this flower in your hands, and I want you to put your full attention on it, right? What color or colors is this item? How many different colors do you see there? Is it a different color on the inside than on the outside? Yeah. And what is in the middle there? All this little yellow pollen that's in there. How about that? And it's not in a circular, well, it's kind of circular, but it's kind of off center too. I wonder what that's all about. And then if you touch it, like, what does it feel like? Is it a rough sensation, a smooth, a soft, velvety, bumpy? What's it feel like? How would you describe that? Getting wonderful pollen all over my desk. Yeah. What does it smell like? Hmm. And does it smell different on the edges than in the middle? Hmm. Now, what does the back side of it look like? Is the back side different than the front? A little bit, yeah. A little different color. You see the veins that are on the leaves there, and you don't see them so much on the front. That's interesting. How many little green leaves do we have on the back here? If I were to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 around this side, and then 2 little guys here. Oh. All right. Very nice. If I were to give this flower a name, what would you name it? Yeah, it could be Bob, but it could also be,
Mary.
Mary. That's marvelous. Our flower, Mary. Yeah. Excellent. So now that I've like really focused on Mary, I know a lot about Mary. I'm gonna go and find another item near me, right? And it could be a different coffee cup, right? Let's look at this flower here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at the color. How many different colors do we see on that? And is it different from the middle to the tips, or is it kind of the same? Yeah, and that center area. Any pollen in that center area? I don't see any. Is it soft when you touch the middle of it? Or rough or bumpy? What's that feel like? Yeah. All right, looking at the back of it. Is the back different than the front? Goodness, sure does. Like here's our front and here's our back. And am I able to count any of the little leaves on there? I honestly am not. Not without my glasses on. And I see one little leaf attached to it there. Yeah. I could even attempt to count how many leaves there are here versus how many are on here. Yeah, that's the difference there. Probably fewer here than here. Look at that. One center is light and one is dark. They have some similar colors, don't they? But they're arranged very differently, right? If we look at their backs, still got veins on both of those, on their petals, but different colors, right? And different greenery. Oh, we didn't smell the mum. Ooh, mum smelled different. Ah, oh, they do smell quite different. Excellent. What shall we name the chrysanthemum? Mary and who? What comes to mind? To me, this looks like a circus flower, right? Because of the stripes and the colors. Yeah, we could call this our circus flower. All right. So what we just did right there, I'm gonna put a little circus flower up in here, right? Was called mindfulness, right? Have you heard of mindfulness? I feel like it's popping up in the news more and more often. The concept of mindfulness, which is uh, ironically or paradoxically getting out of your head and into the moment, right? You're not thinking about the future, you're not thinking about the past, you're kind of in the moment and fully present in the moment, which is very rare for many of us at the moment, right? We go along with our life and we're thinking about what's coming up and planning and concerned about it, or our mind is in the past of what happened in the past and our feelings about those things and a focus there. But truly, all we really have is the moment. In actuality, our minds can go to those two places, but we can't really do anything about it. All we can do about it is what's here and now. And it can be very difficult to quiet the mind who's busily going in the front and forward or backwards and be in the moment, right? For those of you that do meditation, right? Sometimes it can be really challenging to stay in the moment because off your mind goes. And in that way, horticultural therapy utilizes mindfulness um, and our natural attraction to plants or living things, helping us to be present in the moment, right? And you can do mindfulness with many, many things. And you're typically isolating one of your senses. But in this case, we used multiple senses for this. We largely used our vision, right, to um, observe, and the mind is used, but it's to question how many colors are there? What colors are they? What would I call that? What would I call that color in the middle? What would I call that color on the end? I wonder how many petals there are. I wonder if that's pollen there, right? That's the mind. It's being utilized, but it's in the here and now, very much in the present, right? And then you utilize your sense of smell. If this was an herb, and I do a lot of my horticultural therapy with herbs, so like I've got some nice fennel here, I would also utilize my sense of taste. What does it taste like? My goodness, tastes like licorice. I've used my sense of touch with what does it feel like? What's that similar to? How would I describe that? Right, so the mind's engaged, but it's all in the present, in the here and now. And it helps break the cycle of our thoughts, right? That sometimes can swirl around worry or projection or regret, or, if we're in the past. Stops that, brings us right here into the moment. And even doing it for, very short periods of time has scientifically been found to be very helpful, right? So you could do something really quick and easy about, all right, I'm worried about something and I'm tired of thinking about it over and over again. I'm going to take this and I'm going to look at it. I wonder how many seeds are there. I'm going to count those seeds. Oh yeah. I wonder what it tastes like. Okay. I wonder what the stem is like. I wonder why the stem is modeled like that. It's not all green, it's kind of green and white. Huh. All right. Does it smell like anything? Wow, it really does. That's good. That's it. That's all you need in kind of stopping that mind that's kind of in a rut and bringing you right into the here and now. That's mindfulness. It's easy to do with plants and living things. Yeah, because of a concept, a theory that's called biophilia, was started in the 1970s. And the concept is theory. The theory is that we humans are innately wired to be intrigued by living things. Because our ancestors were intrigued, that our ancestors who paid attention to plants lived to have offspring and bring us here today. And that those that weren't paying very much attention to the plants ate the wrong ones and are not here today to pass on their genes and have kids and bring us here. So that it's really within our DNA to be attracted or interested, intrigued by plants. So it helps with the mindfulness, but you can also do it with hearing, right? If you, let's say you can't get out and walk around, but you want to do some mindfulness, you don't have a plant near you. Oh, you can close your eyes, and for the next 30 seconds, you're going to identify 5 sounds, right? You're going to close your eyes and just listen and put all your attention on what you hear until you've got 5. Okay, I hear my cat in the other room. I hear the traffic. I think, the refrigerator. I hear somebody laughing outside on the sidewalk. Yeah. I hear the fountain that I have outside. Yeah. And that's all mindfulness, right? For the moment, there I was, right? In the moment, just focused on hearing. You can do it with sight. You can do it with touch. It is helpful. So those are 2 things, 2 tips or tools for um, uh, self-care and assisting when you're feeling anxious or, anxiety and things like that. Yeah. So overall, other ways to take care of oneself and is talk therapy. And I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg here. There's lots of great things about talk therapy and many modalities to use that give you solid tools to work with the challenges that are going on for you currently. Yeah. So at Ellie Mental Health, we're a clinic with, so I'm the clinic director, and I have many clinicians that work with me, and I have the joy of being able to hire the creme de la creme, which is not true of all therapy offices. Let me just say that. In fact, if I may, I'd like to show you my team. Yeah, you all see my team there? We opened in January, right? So we're still getting started and growing. We've got 7 offices, and we see everyone from, some of my staff focus on young folks, like from 5 years old to teenagers. Others focus on teenagers and young adults. I myself focus on adults and seniors, right? So, and we have many types of modalities, lots of experience within our clinic. And again, we're growing all the time. We're fortunate enough to have a gorgeous office on Woodside Road, 177 Woodside Road. So we can do in-person therapy, which is uncommon these days. There's a lot of stuff going on online, but we can do online things too. Telehealth works really well. Another neat thing is that we accept Medicare and Medi-Cal and a whole bunch of other insurances. We're fortunate that in these 9 months that we've been open, we've been able to be certified with these. So many people who have Medicare and a secondary have no copay. It's completely free for them to come. Some people have a deductible, but more often than not, if you have Medicare and a secondary, it's free. We have no wait lists. Our clinicians have openings. And there's my number at the bottom, and our website. Give me a call. Happy to get you into the clinic or have you seen via telehealth or even just a consult. Hey, here's what's going on for me. I'd love some advice. I love talking to folks and giving ideas. I've been in the business for 20 years, so I do have some ideas, and I do have a lot of knowledge of resources in the area. So please feel free and reach out. And next month, we'll be here with more tips. And in fact, I'd love to hear from folks if there's something that you would like us to address or give tools on for next month's installment. I'd love to hear that. We're happy to do that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, April. This has been so insightful.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right. We'll see you next month.
All right. All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.